he and I once lived in harmony as husband and wife. He never took concubines or visited courtesans. Though I bore no children and my mother-in-law made things difficult, he always stood by me, even arguing with his own mother. After my death, grief crushed him. He resigned from office, shaved his head, and wandered the land as a monk. Before leaving, he left one line. In this life, I have no regrets. If there is another, I would still wed Ning Dao as my wife. So when both of us were reborn, he came once again to my family to propose. But this time, I told him, Chu Yangtze, I will not marry you. Because behind all that devotion lay a hidden torment I could not endure a second time. Marriage is no game. My mother slammed down her teacup, frowning. You grew up together, the betrothal was spoken of long ago. He is of age, yet has no concubine, no courtesan. Everything he does is for you. Only yesterday you were asking when Yangtze would return to the capital. Why change your mind overnight? In this dynasty, Confucian principles rule the state, worshipping spirits while keeping them distant. I could not speak of rebirth. I could only kneel and say, Mother, I will not marry him. She grew flustered and angry, thinking I was being childish. Just then, my grandfather entered, helped me to my feet, stroked his beard, and sighed. Ning Dao has studied with me since childhood and never acted capriciously. If she says no, she must have her reasons. Since no promise is yet sealed, if after 3 days her mind is unchanged, I will personally refuse the Chu household on her behalf. My eyes burned, tears nearly fell. I had feared rebuke, for grandfather always praised Chu Yangtze. My mother, too, sighed. He has been away months, seeking medicine for your illness. Today he comes bearing wounds, only to ask for your hand. How has it come to this? I remained silent, bitterness filling my chest. Everyone believed Chu Yangtze's love for me was undying, even at the brink of death. I had believed so as well. At 16 I wed into the Chu household, 10 years later I died ill. Throughout that decade, he never took another woman. The physicians said I could not bear children. His mother grew dissatisfied, urging him to take a concubine. Heartbroken, I even advised him to do so. But Chu Yangtze said, I would rather have no heir than betray Ning Dao. His mother then branded me barren and jealous, tormenting me in countless ways. Yet whenever he discovered it, he would protect me, even at the cost of being called unfilial. In this dynasty, such a charge could end a man's career, but he defied her still. I thought it was love deeper than the sea. After death, my soul drifted. I saw him kneel before my coffin for 3 days and nights, nearly faint with grief. I saw him resign, build a hut by my grave, and finally renounce the world to wander as a monk. His mother wept and clung to him, but he only repeated, In this life, I have no regrets. If there is another, I would still wed Ning Dao as my wife. People said our love moved heaven and earth. Others cursed me as a calamity, a beauty who bewitched a man into disloyalty and unfilial conduct. My soul wept. Until one day, I saw Chu Yangtze in a frontier town, holding a foreign woman in his arms. The truth beneath the surface shattered me. I had never doubted his love, not until I saw him with her. Perhaps before he met that bold, unrestrained girl of the grasslands, it had been real. When we were 15, the royal hunt drew lords and vassals to the capital. I was ill and stayed home. He later brought me a fox fur scarf. I never knew it was then, when his arrow felled a white fox, that he caught the eye of Duoya, daughter of the Shilua chieftain. She was fiery and extravagant. Though he told her he already had someone, she clung to him relentlessly. Even I had heard whispers. Before leaving the capital, she stole a kiss from him and rode away laughing. He feared my anger, explained at length, but never told me the truth, that her brazenness had carved itself into his heart. Later, seeking medicine for me, he went to the grasslands. She followed. No matter his scolding, she refused to leave. Like a story too cliché to believe, they fell from a cliff together, poisoned by an aphrodisiac herb. One night together, and everything changed. He admitted his feelings, vowing to take responsibility, to marry her. Yet Duoya only sneered. You people of the Central Plains bind yourselves with too many rules. I won't step into your inner court to fight among your women. Whoever you were meant to marry, go ahead and marry her. She clung to him like a proud she-wolf, her expression brazen. But you must make her drink this sterilizing medicine. You are my man. I can endure her easing your desires, but I will never allow her to bear your child. Chu Yangtze only smiled helplessly, indulgent. Very well, I will remain loyal to you alone. The two laughed together, reminiscing. To the world, he acted as if crushed by my death, wandering the land in grief. In truth, he had simply fled with Duoya, abandoning duty to country and kin, basking in love while leaving the infamy to me. In the capital, the ladies would whisper. One must never seek a wife like Ning Dao, bewitching a man until he casts aside everything behind him. The next day, I went to offer incense at the temple. Spring thrived below, yet snow still clung to the branches upon the mountain. Ning Dao. The call froze me in place. It was the first time I had seen Chu Yangtze since my rebirth. His eyes brimmed with tangled emotions as he strode forward, straightening my cloak. Then he scolded Xiao Tao, my maid. How could you serve your lady so carelessly? The cloak isn't even tied, what if she catches a chill? Xiao Tao looked at him as though she had seen a ghost, hastily stepping in front of me, her voice trembling with anger. Young Master Chu, mind your manners. He startled, dazed for a heartbeat. And in that instant, my heart sank, he too had been reborn. I almost laughed aloud at the irony. Ning Dao, I only thought, since our marriage is near, I might have been too forward. He grew slightly abashed. In 2 days it will be the Shaanxi festival. The third princess has invited us to her banquet, there will be archery, and the prize is a fine jade pendant. I will win it, to give you as dowry. His eyes glowed with determination, as if I filled his whole heart. Yet at the mention of the third princess, understanding dawned. In my past life, during the banquet at Luoming, the third princess too had intended to take him as her consort. But I was his childhood betrothed, the only heir of the Ning family, with my grandfather a minister who had served 3 reigns. The emperor would not destroy my marriage for her whim. Thus she withdrew. But if Chu Yangtze had rejected her for the daughter of a grassland chieftain, it was nothing less than a slap to the imperial face. No wonder. No wonder he clung to me in this life as well, using me as a shield. I clenched my handkerchief, ready to expose him. Yet he drew out a sachet. Ning Dao, inside are calming herbs. Wear it daily, it will aid your sleep. Each word steady, his gaze unwavering, concern written plainly. As though it truly held nothing but herbs. Not the very sachet that vanished after I discovered my barrenness in the last life. The blood in my veins froze. He meant to replay it all. But why? Why must I, reborn, still sacrifice my life to fulfill their love? Xiao Tao, take it. My voice rasped. Seeing I did not wear it, Chu Yangtze tried to persuade me. You are Ning Dao. Then came the thunder of hooves, and an arrogant voice pierced the air. It was Duoya. She looked me over with disdain. So this is all. Her gaze fell on the sachet in Xiao Tao's hands. The snow herb grows only on frozen peaks. Young Master Chu suffered bitter hardship to bring it to you. And you simply toss it to a maid, how ungrateful. Or are all Central Plains women like this? Spoiled by men's devotion, knowing only how to take without giving back. Truly without upbringing. Mind your words. Displeasure flickered in Chu Yangtze's eyes. Duoya pouted. Coldly, I said, what business of yours is it, what passes between Chu Yangtze and me? It was the first time we faced each other in 2 lives. She widened her eyes, surprised I would defy her. I straightened my back, voice sharp. His Majesty himself called my grandfather Situ and praised the Ning family's integrity. Raised by my grandfather, if I am without upbringing, then you scorn my grandfather, or are you questioning His Majesty's words? Tell me, is it only you who think so, or does your whole tribe hold the same contempt? The weight of the accusation struck, her face blanched. Even Chu Yangtze stared at me in shock. Ning Dao, since when have you become so sharp-tongued? Duoya looked at him, wounded and furious. Chu Yangtze, will you stand idle while she slanders me? Xiao Tao planted her hands on her hips. And if he does? Should young Master Chu protect my lady, or a stranger like you? But Chu Yangtze only sighed. She is but a foreign girl. Ning Dao, why quarrel with her? Xiao Tao stared in disbelief. I laughed coldly. Am I not to be angered when someone who admires you insults me, even maligns the Ning family name? He gazed at me as if reassured, a faint smile playing at his lips. So fiery today, Ning Dao, my darling, are you jealous? I turned away, weary of words. In 2 days, he would know the truth without me speaking further. In this life, he and I are nothing to each other. This time, my illness healed a little earlier. On the day of the Shaanxi festival, I attended the third princess's banquet. My grandfather, seeing my resolve unshaken, prepared his carriage to deliver our refusal to the Chu household. At the banquet, Chu Yangtze and Duoya were present as well. For 2 days he had sought to meet me, but I refused him each time. Halfway through the gathering, the third princess led everyone to the archery field prepared in advance, her maids carrying out the prize, a fine jade pendant. Within 3 arrows, whoever shoots most accurately shall win. Chu Yangtze rose first, joined by several young lords. Passing me, he bent low and whispered. Enough sulking, Ning Dao. Watch me win the jade pendant for you. Just as the contest began, Duoya raised her voice. Your Highness may not know, among us grassland women, all are skilled in horse riding and archery. May I also join? Murmurs rippled through the crowd. The third princess, intrigued, nodded. Xiao Tao beside me muttered, show off. Yet unease stirred within me. The first arrows, Chu Yangtze missed slightly, Duoya struck only the edge of the target. The second, Chu Yangtze hit the bullseye, while Duoya faltered. Laughter rose. Chu Yangtze chuckled, indulgence softening his gaze toward her. The censor's daughter leaned close, whispering. Ning Dao, beware this foreign woman. Official Chu regards her differently. In his eyes toward Duoya lay a familiarity, the intimacy of years shared. I thought bitterly, at what point did Chu Yangtze's rebirth begin? My gaze shifted to the corner, where a young man of foreign features, almost androgynous in bearing, loosed arrow after arrow, each striking dead center. This year's newly crowned martial champion, Lu Yun. At the third arrow, my unease surged. I was about to withdraw when Duoya suddenly gasped, her arrow veering off course. In that instant, every hair on my body bristled, my pupils contracted. My body froze, I could not evade in time. My lady. Ning Dao. The arrow split the air, pain stung my cheek. Miss, are you hurt? Chu Yangtze rushed to me, fear blazing in his eyes. Xiao Tao wept in terror. Breath ragged, I clutched my left cheek, still trembling, and turned. The arrow Duoya loosed had been split mid-flight by another shaft, driven into the tree behind me. Insolence. The third princess, shocked and furious, barked, seize her. Duoya lifted her chin defiantly. A bug flew into my eye. And she isn't even injured, what is all this pretense? The towering matron at the princess's side kicked her to her knees. With a vicious grip, she seized Duoya's chin and slapped her twice across the face, swelling her cheeks. Duoya screamed. How dare you strike me? Is this how you treat emissaries? Even my father has never laid a finger on me. And she stole your consort, yet you defend her. The third princess sneered. You think all the world is like you, with nothing but love affairs in your head. This is Disheng, not the wilds for your kind to run rampant. Ning Dao stands unscathed because Lu Yun's arrow spared her. Do not wield state diplomacy to threaten me. I will report this to the emperor. Until then, confine her. Your Highness, be merciful. Chu Yangtze, who moments before was frantic over me, now gave his whole attention to Duoya. With a sweep of his robe, he knelt. It was truly an accident. I saw clearly, a bug flew into her eye. Ning Dao is barely scratched. Why make this such a scene? The third princess's eyes narrowed, raking over him. She endangered your betrothed, and you defend her. Chu Yangtze's gaze flickered, hastening to me. Ning Dao, it's only a scratch, isn't it? Duoya meant no harm, can you plead for her? I said. When my grandfather traveled west in his youth, he once saw a Buddhist grotto statue destroyed, leaving only its pedestal intact. Chu Yangtze, flustered, snapped. Why bring that up now? Because if you're so generous with others, I said coldly, then you should sit upon that pedestal and take the Buddha's place yourself. His face darkened. She is but another, yet you won't let go of such a trifle. Must you be jealous of Duoya? Are you not afraid others will call you petty and jealous? I drew a long breath. After that brush with death, I was weary beyond words. Still he persisted, voice full of earnestness. Ning Dao, there is nothing between us. But behind Duoya stands the Shilua tribe. Do not stir trouble at such a time. I cut him off. Chu Yangtze, have you not already spread tales of my jealousy far and wide? When did I? He began to protest, then froze, realization dawning. His eyes widened in disbelief. Ning Dao, you too. I no longer looked at him, only turned to the third princess. Your Highness, since this matter bears such weight, let His Majesty decide. Thus, the Shaanxi banquet ended in haste. I rode with the third princess in her carriage. She was silent the entire way, lost in thought. When we reached the great hall, my grandfather sat on the small stool bestowed by the emperor. At the sight of me, he immediately rose and hurried forward, carefully examining my wound. My throat tightened, and I whispered, "Grandfather," before bowing my head, tears sliding down my cheek. His face hardened. He knelt heavily, his voice solemn. Your Majesty, my only son passed away young, leaving behind but one daughter. I raised her like a pearl in my palm. I am retired. In office I never once quarreled with the Shilua tribe. Yet today, the sole granddaughter of this old minister's house nearly lost her life. How has she earned such hatred? Situ, rise, the emperor commanded, as a eunuch stepped forward to help him. Kagan, what say you? At once, a thin sheen of sweat formed on the foreign chieftain's brow. Flustered, he dropped to his knees. Duoya is my youngest daughter, spoiled since birth. She acted rashly, Your Majesty. I beg you to show mercy. Rashly. Lu Yun suddenly spoke, his tone sharp. From the second arrow onward, her eyes faltered. If a mere insect truly flew into her gaze, her hand should have loosened, not drawn with such force. Why then did her shot strike directly toward Lady Ning? His meaning was clear. The third princess exchanged a glance with Lu Yun, an understanding flashed between them. She bowed low, voice tinged with grievance. Father, the archery contest was my suggestion. I invited Duoya out of goodwill, to show our Disheng's courtesy. Who knew she would dare strike openly? Was it arrogance, or was someone behind her, inciting her? Do they disregard me, or do they disregard our Disheng itself? One accusation after another. The matter was no longer about my wound. I leaned close to my grandfather, murmuring. How much flesh do you think His Majesty will carve from the Shilua tribe before he lets this go? Grandfather only stroked my head. Ning Dao, today I am not a minister, only a grandfather seeking justice for his granddaughter. Then his voice dropped, bitter with rage. And that Chu boy, no wonder you refuse him so firmly. I was blind, he is no man to entrust a lifetime with. By law, Duoya's crime was assault with attempt unfulfilled. 30 strokes in prison would leave her half dead. I only meant to frighten her, Duoya stammered, blood draining from her face. I never meant to hit her. The Khagan's heart ached for his daughter, spoiled into arrogance, yet he would shield her still. In the end, the matter closed with the Shilua tribe offering the Ning family rare medicinal herbs, ceding fertile pasture land, and 3 years of tribute. The emperor turned to my grandfather. Situ, what say you? I inhaled deeply, stepped forward, and knelt. Your Majesty, this humble daughter has a matter to report. From my sleeve, I drew the sachet, lifting it high. Chu Yangxi's face blanched, disbelief flashing in his eyes. Ning Dao. I did not look at him. My voice rang clear. Duoya's hatred of me stems from her entanglement with Chu Yangxi. Because of my betrothal, she saw me as a thorn in her eye. The two of them have long been in secret collusion. This sachet he gave me, its herbs meant to leave me barren for life. Let the imperial physicians examine it, and truth will be revealed. Amid Chu Yangxi's paling face, I spoke every word that needed saying. The third princess's gaze shifted toward him, first puzzled, then disdainful, then laced with disgust. Chu Yangxi. I was blind. You spurned the wealth of the imperial house for your childhood betrothal, and I thought you steadfast. Yet you are swayed by a trifling seductress until you forget heaven and earth. The sachet, I had already told grandfather before coming here. Otherwise, he might have struck him down in the hall. Still, Chu Yangxi was not a fool. He kowtowed until his forehead bled, insisting he had no knowledge of the sachet's true contents. Moments ago he demanded I forgive Duoya, now he shifted all blame upon her. It was this foreign woman, consumed by jealous love. Duoya stared at him, horrified. Yangxi, for such a man, you make me choke with rage. The Khagan's face twisted with fury and disappointment. Chu Yangxi pressed his forehead to the floor. But Ning Dao remains unharmed. Duoya acted only in a moment of passion. I beg your majesty for mercy. The emperor's expression was unreadable, yet it chilled the marrow. My beloved minister, your footing is not yet steady. Slowly, Chu Yangxi's shoulders sagged. That judgment alone sealed the dimming of his career. The third princess laughed coldly. Since it is so, father, then grant these star-crossed lovers their wish. Chu Yangxi's head snapped up in shock, turning from her to me. I smiled at him. Isn't this what you wanted? This was what I had begged the third princess on our carriage ride. She thought me fevered from injury, but no. I truly wished to see. If Chu Yangxi and Duoya's love was so great that even my life had been their stepping stone, then now, with every obstacle gone, with the emperor himself bestowing marriage, would it last as before? After all was settled, Chu Yangxi stopped me at the palace gates. When did you come back? How much do you know? Does it matter? I looked quietly at the man I had once loved for an entire lifetime. If heaven granted us both another chance, then parting ways was the best choice. The third princess hated me because of love, he pressed, but you, why would you help me and Duoya? Has your heart truly abandoned me? Before I could answer, the third princess arrived to see me off, and heard his words. She laughed coldly. Chu Yangxi, do you think yourself so rare? Once I admired your looks and talent, but men like you, I need only lift a hand to have dozens. Ning Dao, come. My grandfather later brought me to thank Lu Yun once more. Inside the carriage, as the curtain fell, I glanced back toward the palace walls. His tall figure was swallowed by the setting sun, his expression hidden. 2 lives, and twice he had saved me. When Mother learned what had happened, her fury shook the house. Gentle as she had always been, she cursed Chu Yangxi harshly. 2 base creatures, to treat our Ning Dao so. Had that barbarian not lost her wits, would they not have deceived you utterly? Grandfather's face darkened. I may be retired, but I still have disciples at court. This will not end here. He had weathered 3 reigns, decades of courtly storms, and withdrawn intact. In my past life, Chu Yangxi's show of devotion deceived everyone. For my sake, grandfather had aided him greatly in politics. With that backing, he rose swiftly, until my death gave him the chance to withdraw, using retreat to advance. He wandered the land with Duoya, one hand clasping her in pleasure, the other leaving poems at shrines and inns, mourning me. When the new emperor ascended, he summoned Chu Yangxi, the famed recluse of pure repute, back to court. Duoya changed her name, calling herself his newly wedded wife. People said, though Chu Yangxi lost his beloved, he refused youthful beauty, and chose instead a confidant. His love runs deep. They praised Duoya as virtuous, wise, a woman who could move a man faithful beyond death. His mother rejoiced at his return. Soon, Duoya was pregnant. The family prospered. I pulled myself from those memories. This life, without grandfather's aid, what path could Chu Yangxi carve from the fragments of his past memory alone? After her anger ebbed, mother said softly, "Ning Dao, do not fear. This time, I will find you a man of good character." I fell silent, then whispered, "Mother, I do not wish to marry." Truly, I did not. From carefree daughter and granddaughter, to the wife of another, bound to a household not my own. In my past life, even before marrying Chu Yangxi, I had been full of dread. Mother sighed. You cannot let one bite from a snake make you fear every rope. Not all men are alike. I met her eyes. But even Chu Yangxi, who grew up beside me, betrayed me so easily. Why should I entrust my life to a stranger? She froze, exhaled. Perhaps I was too hasty. We will speak of this later. In the days that followed, I stayed home, reading, painting, or studying ancient texts with grandfather. One afternoon, he asked me gently, "Ning Dao, do you fear that marriage will bind you to serve husband and in-laws, trapped by trivialities, unable to pursue what you love? You've followed me since childhood, immersed in these studies. I will find you a man of the same heart, if you wish. The law decrees that by 17, an unmarried girl must be wed by force of the magistrate. Yet grandfather said, I have only you, my granddaughter. More than worldly duty, I want you to be happy. If you truly refuse marriage, I will beg His Majesty for an exemption." Each word weighed with love. Yet it would trouble him. I could not bear to trouble him. Then I thought again of the figure beneath the palace wall, shrouded in sunset. Of all that had bound us in the past life. A sudden courage welled within me. "Grandfather, there is one man I would ask to wed. I wish to speak to him myself." So I arranged to meet Lu Yun on a flower boat. I spoke plainly. His brows knit, he waved his hands repeatedly. "Lady Ning, that day I saved you by instinct. Marriage is no trifling matter. There are many better men in Deshang than I." I handed him a handkerchief. Embroidered on it was a bird, crowned like a phoenix, yet its tail bore only 2 long feathers. The meaning, a false phoenix, a true emperor bird. Lu Yun was a woman disguised as a man. His face shifted. His eyes, in a flash, grew sharp as blades. For a heartbeat, I feared he might kill me. I hurried to say, "Hearts can change. Even childhood bonds betray. I no longer wish to wed at all. But if you would take me, I can shield your secret." My gaze slid past her, resting on the rippling waves behind the boat. It was as if I saw again the blood-stained sunset of my past life. Chu Yangxi, for the sake of his reputation as a man of deep affection, once declared he wished to be buried with me. Yet later, Duoya grew furious over this, and to appease her, Chu Yangxi pried open my coffin and cast my bones upon a desolate mountain. It was Lu Yun who, while on campaign, came across those scattered remains. Unable to bear the sight of white bones exposed to the sky, he gathered them and raised a modest marker. At the time, I was shaken by his compassion, a man hardened by blood and steel, yet still keeping a heart of mercy. Only later did I learn, it was not him. It was her. Her father was of foreign blood, giving her a high nose, deep eyes, and a tall frame. In my past life, she sat the military exams, a mind as keen as her bow, achieving victory upon victory. She used unrest at the border as excuse, refusing every proposal of marriage. But paper cannot wrap fire, whispers eventually spread. I still remember, after Lu Yun's death, my drifting soul overheard the gossip. At first, enemies accused her of embezzling military rations. But the malicious probing unearthed the most absurd suspicion, only to prove it true. She had risen to the pinnacle of martial command. Had she been a man, endless glory would have been her reward. But because she was a woman, the higher she climbed, the more she erred in their eyes. They could not accept that a woman surpassed them. So she was beheaded before her troops. Her true identity, known only to a few. Lu Yun held my gaze for a long time. Why did you not expose me? I let out a slow breath. Because she had already cast aside the path forced upon women, choosing instead a precipice road. Beyond helping myself, I wished also to see, how far could one woman go? Grandfather summoned Lu Yun to his study for a whole afternoon. When he emerged, he agreed to the match. As in my last life, after the formal rites, I prepared for marriage, mind at peace. Spring unfurled on the branches. Xiao Tao ran in, cradling a large box. Miss, stop embroidering. Inside was an exquisite wedding robe, along with a letter. Lu Yun's handwriting was poor, yet the words steady. A bride has too many tasks before her. I have asked His Majesty's embroiderers to complete your wedding robe. Until the day comes, spend more time with your grandfather and mother. Mother smiled until her eyes crinkled, scolding gently. Such an honest child. Magpies chirped on the eaves, my heart was steeped in sweetness. Though I no longer needed to embroider the wedding robe, I still had one piece I wished to complete. Lacking the right silk threads, I went out to purchase them, only to cross paths with Chu Yangxi. His eyes were calm as he asked. Ning Dao, do you truly mean to wed Lu Yun? I know you hate me. But ask yourself, in our past life, aside from that single night on the grasslands, did I ever visit a brothel? Did I ever take a concubine? I shielded you for a lifetime. And now, you reject me for a crude man like Lu Yun. That sachet, I only meant to spare you the suffering of childbirth. Even if you call it false, I have lived a lifetime of falsehood. Is that still not enough? His words rang with conviction, and I almost laughed aloud. Every deed of his had already severed what once bound us. He always claimed to protect me. But Chu Yangxi, did you ever think of what it was like to stand in my place? He quarreled with his mother, appearing to defend me. Yet it was I who was branded insolent, unfilial, and bore her wrath 100-fold. His eyes faltered. I am a man. I do not grasp the petty cruelties of the inner court. I only protected you in the way I knew. I smiled bitterly. But why then, when Duoya entered your house, did you treat her so differently? They had already been married for some time. Mother and Xiao Tao, unable to stomach it, often recounted with indignation how things stood in the Chu household. After the emperor's decree, Chu Yangxi found a way to coax Duoya into harmony. The Kaghan, like my grandfather, doted on his youngest daughter and lent Chu Yangxi his power. Soon he grew arrogant. At first, his mother rejected Duoya's foreign blood. Duoya herself struggled with life in the capital. Each day she boiled fresh cow's milk and goat's milk. His mother found it foul, but Chu Yangxi declared he wanted it. He even used Duoya's name to present exotic tonics from the grasslands to her. Again and again, such things. He knew well that for the same deed, his mother would scorn me but cherish Duoya. And yet he bore all for her, while his so-called protection of me only deepened her hatred, making every day in the Chu household a tightrope walk over thin ice. These words I had long yearned to hurl in his face. And did you forget? It was your own doing that made your mother despise me for being childless. Chu Yangtze opened his mouth but no words came. At last, he only sighed. If in this life fate is ended, I will not force it. Then his tone shifted. But Duoya is a hawk of the plains, caged here only because of your wrath. Ningdao, this is your debt to her. I nearly laughed aloud. In our past life, you endured 10 years just to be with the one you loved. Shouldn't you be thanking me now? Chu Yangtze's face darkened. The Shangxi festival could have ended peacefully, yet you had to stir trouble. Now Duoya is despised by the third princess, shunned by every noblewoman. The third princess reveres Buddha. I recall you once restored a lost Buddhist scripture. At his words, memories long buried surged back. Rage flared in me, and I hurled the box in my hands at him. Unprepared, he cried out in pain. Ningdao. But before he could lift his arm, another hand seized it, iron-strong, rendering him powerless. Official Chu, are your eyes blind? Can't you see my betrothed wishes not to speak with you? It was Lu Yun. She shoved him aside and placed herself between us. Only then did I realize, her stature was taller than Chu Yangtze's by several inches. With her foreign features and cold eyes, she exuded a pressure he could not match. Chu Yangtze clutched his arm, struggling to reply. But Lu Yun cut him off, voice sharp with disdain. Not everyone twists words as you do. Keep pestering Ningdao, and I'll beat you myself. Chu Yangtze fell silent. He too carried memories of the past life, and he knew Lu Yun was no empty-tongued scholar. I left with her, catching in the corner of my eye the way Chu Yangtze stood dazed, rooted where he was. I remembered how, in my past life, I had painstakingly restored that Buddhist scripture to mend relations with my mother-in-law. I had injured my hands, and Chu Yangtze feigned heartbreak. His mother had raised me from childhood. Even in matters of heirs, she once softened, if he took a concubine, the child would still bear my name and be raised away, never intruding upon our bond. But Chu Yangtze, invoking my name, flew into a rage. To preserve his reputation, his mother spread no word outside, she only magnified her hatred of me 100-fold. Later, the scripture vanished the day before her grand birthday celebration. She thought I had lied all along. Only after my death did I learn, it was Chu Yangtze who ordered the theft, gifting it to Duoya to curry favor with another Buddhist patron. He even told Duoya, if mother already despises Ningdao, why mend the rift? Should she still recall Ningdao's merits, how would you fare in her household? Whispered schemes, all carefully weighed. But never for me. When Lu Yun asked what I was shopping for, I only smiled and kept silent. The next month, on our wedding night, the guests departed. Red candles burned bright in the bridal chamber. I shyly drew out a pair of embroidered pillows. They say in the Hu lands, snow falls by the 8th month. I made these myself, for you. The border was tense. Though newly-wed, Lu Yun would soon march to war. She examined them carefully. Thank you. I like them very much. Clearing her throat, she said softly. I will sleep in the outer room. My rest is light. If you need anything, call me. She turned to leave, but I held her back. We are both women, why keep such distance? She hesitated, embarrassed, yet could not refuse. Usually so bold and commanding, now she seemed almost shy as she began to remove her robes. I stared, eyes widening. Lu Yun, your arms are truly strong, no wonder your archery is unmatched. I poked at her arm. She tensed instinctively. Oh. The candle stubs shortened, and Lu Yun's ears flushed crimson. Enough, sleep. She had never known her father. Her mother long passed. After our marriage, my days were little changed. She rose early, returned late, sometimes bearing wounds. Before, she had tended them herself. Now I learned to treat bruises and gashes with steady hands. When we visited home, Mother beamed to see our harmony. In private, she whispered to me, "Thank heaven you did not wed into the Chu family. His life is bitter now." She told me of Duoya's temper. The filial piety demanded of Desheng women meant nothing to a foreign-born wife. Where I had endured in silence, Duoya quarreled openly with his mother. In my past life, Chu Yangtze and Duoya roamed the land, returning only after 30, with her pregnant. His mother, then softened with age, treated her delicately. She even praised to outsiders. This new daughter-in-law, though foreign, is more virtuous than Ning Dao ever was. But the child barely born, his mother passed away. They had scarcely lived together as mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Now, with me absent, no balance remained. Even when Chu Yangtze tried to mediate, the two grew like water and fire. One wept to him of her daughter-in-law's unfilial ways, the other begged to leave the capital, back to the plains. At last, he preferred banquets with colleagues to returning home. Had I in the past life known the truth, perhaps I would have rejoiced. But now, my heart was no longer chained to old grudges. My care was for those who mattered. Grandfather practiced calligraphy in the study. Beneath the white plum, Lu Yun swung her blade. She glanced over, catching my gaze, then quickly turned away. On impulse, I teased her aloud in Mother's presence. "Husband, come drink tea." For a moment, Lu Yun's sword wavered, slicing into a branch of white plum. Petals fell in a flurry, covering her figure like snow. I deliberately set brush to paper. In the 30th year of Yongyuan of Desheng, Lu Yun wielded her blade in the courtyard. Hearing her wife call out, she struck a plum branch by mistake, and the blossoms fell like drifting snow. Lu Yun glanced at me, half amused. "Ning Dao, what are you writing?" I answered mischievously. "Address me as historian Ning. I am writing your tale, the story of Lu Yun." But Chu Yangtze could not bear to see me live well. He sent a message. "Do you think Lu Yun is a good man?" "Ning Dao, you must know, all men are carved from the same mold." 3 days later, at a banquet in Xinghua Tower, others summoned courtesans for amusement. Only Lu Yun and Chu Yangtze sat unmoved. Chu Yangtze poured his own wine, occasionally casting furtive glances toward the screen where I hid. When urged to drink, Lu Yun refused. "There is an order in the army, we do not drink." "Then let Xianhan sing for you, accompany you with music." Again she declined. Chu Yangtze suddenly spoke. "Is it because your wife at home is jealous, that you abstain so sternly?" Someone else chimed in. "That wife is Ning Dao, once betrothed to official Chu himself. She was so jealous she ruined a girl who admired him, slapped by the princess before all. In the end, she lost both wager and honor, while official Chu married the other instead. Who would marry a narrow-hearted woman like her? Only Lu Yun picked up such a cast-off. Ha ha ha. At present, Lu Yun was still but a middling general. Many there were old associates of Chu Yangtze, deliberately jeering. I felt the same disgust I had always known for Chu Yangtze's ploys. I had told Lu Yun beforehand, if they offer you courtesans, refuse, blame my jealousy if need be. And should whispers of children arise, we can put the blame on Chu Yangtze, that sachet of his. In my past life, Chu Yangtze had always played the same game, Ning Dao is my only one. If she hears of this, I'll be banished to the study tonight. In time, the legend of my jealousy spread far. But I would not let Lu Yun suffer mockery on my account. This life, I no longer cared for reputation. Chu Yangtze waved, and more courtesans came forward, slender and plump, each with her charms. One even held a pipa, her face faintly resembling mine. I laughed coldly. He had prepared so thoroughly, as though to prove Lu Yun no better than he. But he had chosen the wrong target. Lu Yun was not a man at all. She was a woman. Chu Yangtze and another official surnamed Song, sneered together. Would General Lu not accept just one? Keep her outside, no wife would know. The women leaned close, pressing soft flesh against her. But Lu Yun slipped away, her eyes cold. If my wife forbids concubines, it is not from jealousy, but to preserve my name. Official Song, was it not you who spoiled your concubine, took bribes in her name, and were impeached by the censors? Have I remembered wrongly? Official Song's face froze, lips clamped shut. Then she turned to Chu Yangtze. We who train in arms lack your crooked words. I married Ning Dao, and I will remain true to her. I cannot be like you, one face before her, another behind her back. Chu Yangtze's face tightened with anger. Lu Yun drained her cup of tea and rose, leaving. I too slipped away by the rear door. Ning Dao. Chu Yangtze's voice rang from the shadows, half his body swallowed in darkness. A sweet new marriage may last a while. But no man remains faithful. You will see. I halted, turned to meet his gaze. Must you prove that my marriage is joyless, only to soothe your unwilling heart? Does that matter so much to you? He stiffened. I said coldly. It is nothing but your refusal to accept. Yet your refusal means nothing to me. Whether I live well or not, it is no concern of yours. By the carriage, beneath the moon, Lu Yun leaned on her sword, eyes like a hawk's fixed upon him. It seemed, had he pressed further, she would have struck. I quickened my pace toward her, leaving behind one sentence. Chu Yangtze, when will you understand? In this life, we are already strangers. 2 months later, Lu Yun marched with the army to the western regions. By chance, I held half a surviving volume of a Western medical text. At her departure, I mentioned it lightly. In my past life, I had begged Chu Yangtze for such books. He agreed, only for me to overhear his quarrel with his mother. She flaunts arrogance because she does not read the classics for women. Why indulge her with books? His protest had only worsened her dislike of me. I never asked again. Now, I did not expect anything, war allowed no distraction. Yet Lu Yun only nodded gravely. I will remember. So I continued life as before, sometimes returning home to see mother and grandfather. One night, without raising my head, I ordered Xiao Tao. Bring me that jar of medicinal wine. She asked in puzzlement. But my lady, the general has gone to war. What need have you of such wine? My hand froze. Only then did I realize, within mere months, I had grown accustomed to Lu Yun's presence at my side. From time to time, mother spoke of Chu Yangtze and Duoya. Duoya was with child, yet grew ever more suspicious, ever more volatile. One day, she burst into a banquet of Chu Yangtze and his colleagues, seizing a singing girl in hysterics, humiliating him before all. So it must be. In our past life, they abandoned every duty, basking only in the illusions of love. But in this life, the fervor was whittled away by petty quarrels, eroded little by little. How much remained? 2 months into the campaign, military reports reached the capital. Lu Yun was missing. The scouts said she had taken but a handful of elite soldiers, plunging deep into the plateau, marching by day and night. Every error forbidden by the art of war, she had committed. His Majesty raged. Grandfather comforted me, the virtuous find protection. But my heart quaked. In my last life, no such thing had ever happened. I thought of what I had asked her before her departure, and the guilt consumed me. At Fa Temple, I knelt long before the Buddha, bowing my head. Silently, I prayed for her safe return. When I stepped outside, I saw Chu Yangtze beneath a tree. Above him, branches were heavy with red strings and wooden plaques inscribed with prayers. He plucked one, faded with time, and read aloud softly. May Ning Dao and Chu Yangtze, bound in love, share 100 years of harmony. I dimly remembered, I had tied that myself, on the eve of my coming of age. He stood there, eyes fixed as though piercing through long years, seeking not me, but the Ning Dao of a past life, the girl who had once devoted herself wholly to him. His voice rasped. If Lu Yun does not return, what will you do? What has that to do with you? Before I could answer, Duoya's voice cut in, hand pressed to her swollen belly. She regarded us with a shadowed gaze. Chu Yangtze frowned. The mountain paths are treacherous. In your condition, are you not afraid? She sneered. Had I not come, how could I witness my husband confiding with his old flame? Madam Chu, do not slander without cause, I said. Without cause. Her laughter frayed at the edges of madness. This man, drunk, confessed, had he married you, all would be different. I stared at him in shock. Chu Yangtze, are you mad? You already possess all you yearned for, do you now regret it? I do regret, he whispered. So soft, I thought I misheard. He drew a deep breath, as if at last making a choice. Had I not been a fool, we would have lived in harmony all our lives. It is not too late. Lu Yun may already be dead. I will petition His Majesty to grant me divorce from Duoya. Will you still wed me? Duoya shrieked, clawing at him. Chu Yangtze. For you I left the plains, confined and tormented by your mother, bearing your child, and now you would cast me aside. Calm yourself. Do not be a jealous shrew. Her face blanched white, then twisted with deranged laughter. A jealous shrew. You call me that. You will never escape me. You swore to love me, to wed me, you cannot go back. I had no wish to partake in their farce. I turned and left. He was right about one thing, the mountain paths were perilous. Yet Duoya had climbed them, swollen with child, only to guard against the ghost of infidelity. As though, by such desperate clinging, she could hold him. People always paint untraveled roads in rosy hues. Only once they walk them do they learn regret. Rain fell as I descended the mountain. Autumn rain chilled the capital, how much colder must the frontier be? Was Lu Yun freezing on the plateau even now? History was no longer repeating itself. Had it been because of me that she courted such danger? My vision blurred with tears and rain. Then an umbrella tilted above me, shielding me from the drizzle. I looked up, stunned. Lu Yun stood before me, tall and unshaken. I returned to report. When you were not at home, nor in Ning Manor, I guessed you might be here. I was struck dumb, trailing after her like one lost. After bathing, she drew a lacquered box from her chest, lifting out the missing half of the medical text. The words lodged in my throat, yet I forced them out. Was it for this book that you risked everything? She blinked, then chuckled. What are you thinking, Ning Dao? Finding this for you was only incidental. She sighed, stretching her long arm, hesitated, then simply rested her hand on my shoulder, giving 2 gentle pats. Do not blame yourself. I promised you, and I keep my word. But I am not a fool. Grandfather was present as well. He spoke. Lu Yun had achieved great merit. Though the plateau was treacherous, she had charted her route in advance to avoid missteps. Without supply lines, she permitted her soldiers to bear silken horses, trading along the way to sustain themselves. When they faltered, she rode at the front, cutting down the enemy commander with her own blade. Finally, grandfather's voice lowered, heavy with meaning. This one, her future is boundless. But boundless only so long as Lu Yun's secret remained buried. In our past life, her abstinence from women had already sown suspicion. In this life, she married me. Though Lu Yun bore the tall frame, the indistinct features between man and woman, even the faint rise of an Adam's apple, there were still details that might invite suspicion. Half a month later, I handed her a vial of medicine. She lifted her gaze, questioning. I said, in the fragment of the medical text you found for me, it is written, taken steadily, this tonic will keep the voice low and rough like that of a man, without harming the body. You have strained your throat too long forcing it down, the inflammation recurs again and again. Lu Yun studied me for a long while. Just as I began to falter under her silence, she smiled. So this was why you sought the medical text, for me. Even knowing her truth, that smile dazzled me. Outside the window, autumn deepened. Her calloused, war-worn hand clasped mine. Ning Dao, to have you is fortune enough. I laughed softly. Since you treat me well, I too will treat you well. We shall be sisters for life. Years passed. Lu Yun's brilliance on the battlefield blazed ever brighter. Because of her secret, when mother hinted at children, I had long bribed the physicians, laying all blame upon Chu Yangtze. Grandfather's disciples in court, once our allies, turned their spears against him. Not long after grandfather's audience with the emperor, Chu Yangtze was dispatched as governor to a remote province. Outwardly promotion, inwardly exile. A place of bandits, of plague, where even his predecessor had died in office. In this life, without grandfather's hand to steady him, Chu Yangtze relied only on the half-knowledge of rebirth. Yet Lu Yun's very existence proved, history does not always repeat. He chose the wrong faction. Grandfather's students struck him down again and again. Without me as his pedestal, without the facade of deep devotion, his career was unremarkable, his name unremembered. Far from the capital, Duoya seemed almost happier. Yet between her brows, wrinkles had etched deep within a few short years. Their first child was lost amidst one of their many quarrels. I saw Chu Yangtze leading his horse, looking toward me from afar. In mere years, the heroic air of the past life had withered. Adversity carved misery into his face. Ning Dao, I leave the capital. I know not when I shall return. From this day, we are truly strangers. Lu Yun's voice was cold as steel. Is Ning Dao a name you may call? He forced a laugh, then turned to Duoya. This time, you are the one beside me. I knew then, he remembered the last life. But Duoya, blind to it all, only glared at him with hatred. They had become shackled enemies. Whatever torment awaited them henceforth, it no longer touched me. From the alliances and intrigues Chu Yangtze wove, I could guess the year he was reborn. Yet he never knew, my soul had already watched him live out an entire lifetime. At nearly 40, the new emperor was struck by apoplexy, unable to speak. The court fractured, factions schemed. The third princess, long in seclusion at Jiangnan, suddenly returned. With thunderous hand, she purged corruption, seized the regency. Hearing of Chu Yangtze and Duoya, recalling past slights, she investigated thoroughly. Her fury burned bright. In our last life, come autumn, Chu Yangtze and Duoya were both beheaded. I prayed silently, let him at least reach the age he once did. I knew Lu Yun's secret. And in the 5th year of our marriage, I revealed my own. With history as my map, Lu Yun had already reaped gains in court and campaign. That very year, we chose a perilous course. We entrusted our truth to the third princess. Had she not, in the Shaanxi banquet years before, forced the Shilua Khan to cede land beneath the pretext of a woman's grievance. Had she not calmed the court with her blade, cloaking her ambition beneath the incense of Buddha. Could such a woman be content to bury herself in prayers? Paper cannot contain fire. Lu Yun and I needed her. It was a risk. But my faith was not misplaced. The princess was stunned into silence, her expression shifting, before she entered the palace. None knew what she said, but His Majesty summoned Lu Yun and spoke with her the entire night. By dawn, she emerged, whole. Still a general. The emperor hungered for conquest. When men were scarce, what did hallowed names matter? Besides, Lu Yun was a woman. The princess's gaze turned toward the heavens beyond the palace wall. So, it can be thus. Ning Dao, let us go home. I waited outside the palace gates until night fell. When she emerged, Lu Yun clasped my hand. I smiled and nodded. Grandfather had newly acquired a trove of lost texts from the last dynasty, eager for me to help catalog them. Lu Yun would soon march again. In our past life, she perished against the Chang state. Her death brought defeat to Disheng. But in this life, I saw it in her eyes, that burning ambition. She sought to ride iron hooves across the realm, to command the tribute of 10,000 nations. And when I once swore to write the story of Lu Yun, it had never been idle words. I will use my brush and my paintings to record all of this. Even if 100 years from now her name is erased. Even if her merit is buried beneath the dust of time. One day, someone will open the tomb that holds us both. And discover the storm-tossed, tragic, resplendent life she lived. The immortal cloud sings of beauty and grace. Rising beyond 10,000 fathoms into the sky. The end.